Hello, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and today I have a little bit of a project that I want to do. It's kind of a weird project, but essentially I'm looking to kind of switch out a shelf, a display case, if you will, for just a simpler shelf. Why am I doing this? Well, for one thing, I think that, believe it or not, the shelf technically looks like it has more space available, but I think in reality it's not quite as much space as one really could use, and it's kind of a wasted space. And on top of that, there's a lot in this case that I'm looking to unload and get rid of. So I'm going to take you on a journey through this kind of switch up. Okay, so this display case in question. First, let's talk about this display. I mean, if you look back on a few episodes ago, you will know there was an episode where a few episodes ago, it's probably close to a year, but I actually did an episode where I decided to do some lighting in this, put a little strip light in, and I kind of consolidated everything in here to essentially mostly just some Sigma. That's what a lot of these things are. All right, some Sigma ceramic stuff that came out in the early 80s or mid 80s. And along with that, I also had a couple of pieces like the Darth Vader Star Destroyer, the Land of the Jawas playset. And I just decided to kind of simplify. Of course, we have our little display unit there with all sorts of different figures in there. So I just decided to kind of set all those things up in here just because it had the room, and that was that. I mean, there are things in there. Of course, I just noticed my little placemats there are starting to flop over, so I'm gonna have to rethink those. But I like this display. This came from a department store going out of business. I have two of them. I think I paid $500 for the two of them, so relatively cheap for full glass displays. Although I know these days IKEA has some pretty cool things, but for the amount of Florida, about 4 feet off the ground, an amount of coverage and amount of space, and plus it's a few inches off the ground. I'm in my basement in case there's water damage or something. I have a little bit of a buffer there, so it's in pretty good shape. It does come with its own light, but it was hardwired, and when I bought it, the hardwire was clipped off, so I just didn't bother to switch it. I'm actually looking to possibly get rid of this piece, this little bar going across here, just because that's really just the electronics that I don't use anymore. They're no longer working. So, and I think that would help be able to showcase the top shelf a little better. I'm also thinking about lowering that top shelf, because aside from that one picture frame, it looks as though I can actually lower that a good 2 or 3 inches, and you'll be able to see those top things a little better. So I'm really happy with this thing overall. This is just some minor cosmetic adjustments I want to do with it, but I'm here to talk about this one. Okay, this you can see is if you look closely, this is essentially one of those California closet style pieces that you find in, California Closets is the kind of thing, is a company brand that you can actually put inside of a closet, like a bedroom closet that, has all sorts of different shelving and drawer space and hanger space to kind of make the most out of the space one has in a closet. Well, once California Closets became a thing, and this is going back to the late 80s, early 90s, places like Home Depot and Lowe's and other hardware stores were selling, cheap knockoffs. And what I decided what to do is buy one piece, which was essentially just a shelf unit. It's just one modular piece that's supposed to be part of a whole bunch of things. And then I bought some acrylic, as you can see, and I just basically screwed the front of it in using like very, very, very small screws. And I put some acrylic shelves together. And then I even put this top on with some Velcro so that I could easily get to at least the top shelf. And then I could remove the shelves from there. Well, the thing is, in looking around this, and I showed this in an earlier episode recently, that most of what's in here, I'm really no longer interested in keeping in the collection. There's a lot of cups, these are all those episode 1 cups that came out with the big toppers from Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Taco Bell. They were all the rage at the time, trying to find every one of them, and it was great for a while, but then so much else has come out that they have been relegated to kind of backseat. So I think I want to get rid of them. You can see there's a whole stack of cups there. There's some Japanese Pepsi bottles, things of that nature. So I'm looking to get rid of them. The only thing I want to keep out of this top shelf are these, the Burger King, I think, or Burger Chef glasses. I don't have a full collection of them, but I have most of them. So I definitely want to keep those, okay? Below that, and it's hard to see, and that's another thing. This is really, really hard to make out. Okay, but below that, you can see here that there are a lot of micro machine stuff, glue micro machines. Okay, I mean, these are horribly displayed. And it looks like the display unit itself is starting to buckle. So, and at the very bottom, there are some of the micro machine play sets. Okay, I don't know what I want to do with them yet, if I'm going to keep them or not. So we'll see. Okay, so my goal is to take this thing apart, get rid of it, and replace it with a simple shelf system similar to this, but a little bit thinner, that I could fit in this little space right here. All right, so then we got through the first shelf. As I said, aside from these glasses, I decided to get rid of all of it. I did decide, however, to keep one of the episode 1 cups, and that was the R2-D2 cup, just because I'm a big fan of R2-D2, so R2 will remain in the collection. Now let's talk about what we got here. There's a lot of stuff here that's deceptive. All right, I'm gonna start from like the bottom here by where my feet are. Okay, these are some micro machine, individual kind of ships and whatnot, okay? And there's some here that are just very tiny, okay? I'm really not going to keep these. I'm going to kind of put them in little Ziplocs with the stands, and then I'm going to unload them as one set probably. And then we have the action fleet here, this Y-Wing fighter, this X-Wing fighter, okay? And then these deformed figures. I think these are not, I don't even think these are licensed, actually. So they're all going to go, okay? However, it's deceptive. If you look behind that, you see we have some actual die-cast 1977, 78 vehicles. Okay, we also have the conversion vans, okay, which are like zip cord or ripcord conversions. Those I'm going to keep. I'm not sure about this Sandcrawler. I like the Sandcrawler, so I might just decide to keep that. Okay, but I'm going to find another home for these. Perhaps back on this shelf again. We shall see. Okay, so let's get moving on these. Okay, so now we've reached the bottom shelf, okay? Of everything that's in here, I don't really think I'm going to keep too much. I'm going to keep, of course, we have the vintage R2 remote control. And I think these little Galoob play sets I'm probably going to keep. But everything else, I think is going to go. Okay, and again, it's not because I don't love them. It's just, look, think about it. I haven't seen these things in a long time, so I just feel like, you know, as cool as they are, I just need to move on and utilize the space better. Okay, so that's what happens. That's the burden of every collector. And as I've said in previous episodes, you know, we bought all this thinking that, you know, this would be it, we'd complete some kind of a collection, but then only to be, you know, offered other things and more until eventually it just gets too much. So these guys will have to find a home someplace else, and that'll be that. Okay, so let's get these out. Okay, so we did get rid of this piece. As I said, I don't really have much of a use for it, so it's probably going to find its way into the trash. I do occasional flea markets, so it's possible that a flea market, oh, I just noticed poor Dubak's tail, I think, has been bent for a very long time. See if we can get that a little bit further forward. Good. All right, so what I want to do is come up with something that could fit in between here, and rather than designing something, which, you know, could happen, it could take a little time, looking at a shelf similar to this, but a little shorter. I found these in a local hardware store, okay? These are 2 feet, or actually less than 2 feet, they're about 22 inches. And I measured this at about roughly just under 2 feet. So they should fit. And if I need some wiggle room, I can move this over just a tiny bit, although I prefer to avoid it. Actually, I'd like to move this a little bit this way to get it away from the heater, or the water heater. But let us put this together. Now, I've got 2 because they're only 4 feet high, so they're about this high. So I think I could possibly get 2, or at least, you know, utilize 2 and make as many as possible. I also have this, which is actually left over from another one I did. So I'm thinking about trying to combine all 3 and get the tallest one I can get up into the ceiling here. Let's see how we do. Okay, so as you might have caught on the high speed video, I couldn't get more than got basically one. It's a 4 shelf thing with the bottom shelf kind of just being a little off the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I started to get another one in there, and I just missed it by about, I don't know, 6 inches. And I was gonna maybe saw the things, and then I said, what's the point? I mean, you know, now I have a ceiling. I can put some stuff up on the top there, okay? And if I want to do some lighting, I have some options up top here. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelf. That's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to see if I get some of this stuff onto that shelf. Just, I don't know if it's permanent. Right now, it's just a kind of a temporary move things around and see what we can do. Okay, so this is a temporary solution, okay, in terms of where exactly these figures go. There's a kind of hodgepodge going on. I even got some things blocked in the back there. But I'm just trying to clear this out. So I'm looking for different things to do in order to accomplish that. So, but I'm pretty happy with this. I like that it doesn't protrude out farther than this anymore. It allows me a little more walking room to get around it. I'm not 100% happy with the amount of space here, but the thing is, folks, that you know, it's like you kind of have it's like a balance of what one way or another. If I do it too low, then that's fine up top to have a really close shelf. So I might saw these in half, and so I can get these 2 extra shelves and maybe even one of these up here for the top. Okay, for maybe here, and maybe even here. But you see, now we're going down, then it makes more sense to have more space underneath and put taller things at the bottom. I was hoping I could have gotten our awesome Ewok village in there, but it just is not quite the right height. So I'm looking at maybe moving some stuff from here over to there, so that can go down to here. I also noticed that these are all the die-cast vehicles from the 70s, but there were a couple of the Micro 82 vehicles. You can see on the upper left there, the Snow Speeder, the TIE Fighter, and the X-Wing. And I wanted to make sure that those guys kind of found their way into Micro World. And I'm actually thinking Micro World might be a better place, might find it's a better home up in this general vicinity. So, you know, it's always in motion is the future. We will see what happens. Whew, okay, so that'll do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. I hope you enjoyed my little change around here to see how things work. I mean, you know, I do my best to find unique and interesting ways to display the collection, to change up to the collection. I've removed a lot of stuff today. I'm actually excited about removing a lot of that just to kind of organize and make room for other things. Really looking forward to that. So that'll do it for this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. You're interested in the merch to support this channel, check out my TeePublic store in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.